Hi everyone. Today we are going to see additive rule, conditional probability, multiplication rule and Bayes theorem. Right? So additive rule, let us see first additive rule. It is also called law of addition of probabilities. So before that I want to remind you certain things. See probability of A. If P of A is a function, probability function, then it has to satisfy three axioms. The first axiom says that probability of A should be greater than or equal to 0, right? Second axiom is probability of S is equal to 1. And the third axiom is if A1, A2, etc. an are disjoint subsets of the sample space S, then probability of A1 union A2 union etc. union an is equal to probability of A1 plus probability of A2 plus etc. plus probability of an. Okay. So if you want to make use of the third axiom, if you consider some sets, they should be disjoint. Okay, then only we can write like this: P of A1 union etc. union an is equal to their sum of their separate probabilities. This we can use when they are disjoint. Important point. Okay. Next we are going to see additive theorem. The statements, it says that if A and B are any two subsets of two events which are subsets of sample space S and they are not disjoint, then probability of A union B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B. Let us prove this theorem by using Venn diagram. Okay. See, this is our, let us take this as sample space. The square represents the sample space. The first circle is A and second circle is B. And all of us know that this is A intersection B, right? What about this part, the blue part alone? Actually, they are not in B. They are in A, but elements which are in A which are not in B. This can be written as A intersection B complement. B bar means B complement. What is that complement? They are not in B, but they are in A. Okay. Now, what about this part? A bar intersection B. They are which elements which are not in A but in B. This is A bar intersection B, right? Now, A union B. We want to prove P of A union B. For that, first let us write. Why I am writing these three sets are disjoint sets. Okay, I am going to make use of axiom. That's why. See, A union B. A union B means what? All the three sets. That is the entire two circles, if you consider, they will be A union B. This can be written as A union. A means what? The entire circle. Union. We want A union B, but I have considered this entire thing and you can write this, right? A union A bar intersection B. Now we know that A and A bar intersection B are disjoint. A is this set and A bar intersection B is this set, right? So, if you consider probability, now P of A union B is equal to, because these two are disjoint, when I am applying probability, we are going to make use of axiom, right? Applying, taking probability on both sides. This is P of A union these two. This can be written as P of A plus P of A bar intersection B using axiom 3. Because they are disjoint, A and A bar intersection B are disjoint, I can make use of axiom 3. So this is equal to P of A. Now for my convenience, I am going to add and subtract A intersection B, probability of A intersection B, plus probability of A intersection B minus probability of A intersection B, right? So this is equal to probability of A. If you consider these two, I am going to write this as A bar intersection B union A intersection B. using axiom 3. Probability of A bar intersection B, A intersection B. What is here is A bar intersection B? This one. A bar intersection B. And A intersection B is this part, right? So these two, A bar intersection B, union of these two. Can I write like this using axiom 3 because they are disjoint? Minus P of A intersection B, right? What about this one? P of A plus, what is P of A bar intersection B? Union A intersection B is nothing but B. So P of B minus P of A intersection. This is what we wanted to prove. We have considered P of A union B is equal to, we have proved that P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. This proof is important. It can be asked even for the exams, okay? Now we can extend that theorem, additive theorem, for more elements. Let us consider for 3 sets. A, B, C are 3 events. Then P of A union B union C is equal to P of A plus. Here, to remember, I'll give you one tip. See, when you are considering 3 sets, one at a time. P of A plus P of B plus P of C. Always start with positive, and if you are taking 1 at a time, positive. Then 2 at a time, negative, and 3 at a time, positive. Okay, remember this minus, don't forget this minus. So P of A plus P of B plus P of C minus P of A intersection B and so on. And when you are considering 3 sets, it should be plus. Okay, here intersection. Now let us prove this theorem. Consider P of A union B union C. I am going to consider this as P of A union B union C. Consider this as one set, this as one set. So that I can apply the previous theorem, additive theorem for 2 sets, right? So this is P of A union B plus P of C minus P of A union B intersection C, right? P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. In the place of A, I have A union B. In the place of B, I have C. Using additive theorem. Just now we have proved the theorem, now using that. Now, I can apply the same theorem again here. So, this is P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B plus P of C minus here. Here I have union and intersection. I am going to apply distributive law. This will become P of A intersection C union P of B intersection C. Right? This intersection is distributed over A and B. So P of A intersection C union P of B intersection C. Now this is equal to P of A plus P of B minus P of, plus P of C, I can interchange these two, minus P of A intersection B minus C. Now again union of 2 sets, okay, A intersection C and B intersection C. So these two I can expand, use the additive theorem for these two. So P of A intersection C plus P of B intersection C minus P of A intersection C intersection B intersection C, right? So this is equal to P of A plus P of B plus P of C minus P of A intersection B. This minus I am going to take it inside. So minus P of A intersection C minus P of B intersection C, and this minus and this minus will become plus. So plus P of A intersection B intersection C. You know that any 2 sets C intersection C is C only. That's why I am writing only once. This is what we wanted to prove. We started with P of A union B union C and we have ended with this. Okay. So hence the theorem. Okay. Now we are going to see some corollaries. Corollary means what? From the theorem you can derive these formulas. If A and B are mutually exclusive. What do you mean by mutually exclusive? And remember, when you are talking about evens, we say that mutually exclusive. When you are considering them as a set, we talk about disjoint. Both are meaning the same. Okay. When you are taking sets, if you are considering them as a set, then we have to use disjoint. The word disjoint. A and B are evens. If you are considering them as an event, then we have to use mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means what? A intersection B, disjoint. A and B are disjoint. Okay. So A intersection B will become empty. Therefore, probability of A intersection B will become 0. Therefore, you get this. It can be extended for n elements also. A1, A2, etc. An are mutually exclusive. Then this result holds. Okay. Similarly, another important thing, when will you say that it is a partition? A1, A2, etc. An is a partition of sample space. Then A1, A2, etc. An should be disjoint and their union should be equal to S. Okay. So if it is a partition set of sample space S, then probability of A1 plus union use this. We know this is P of A1 plus P of A2 plus etc. An. And we know that this is probability set of yes, probability of the sample space yes, and it is equal to 1. Okay, this is another corollary which can be derived from the previous theorem. Next is important thing, conditional probability. Conditional probability comes when one event depends on the previous event. That is, one event should happen. After that only another can happen. Okay. So if you consider those kind of situations, then we have to use conditional probability. The probability of an event B occurring when it is known that some event A has occurred is called a conditional probability and is denoted by here P probability of B, and this slash is called given. It is to be read as given. Okay. So it is to be read as probability of B given A. What is the meaning of this? A happened already. After that B is happening, right? So occurrence of A is first, then occurrence of B comes, right? So definition of this conditional probability, the conditional probability of B given A, it is denoted by this, is equal to, this you have to by what? Probability of A intersection B divided by, it is very easy. Here whichever is happening after the given, whatever is there, that will be there in the denominator. Remember like that. And another important condition, probability of A should be greater than 0. Generally, probability of A greater than or equal to 0. This is our first axiom, right? But here equal to 0 condition cannot be considered. It cannot be equal to 0 because we are considering that probability in the denominator. Okay? Denominator cannot be equal to 0. Similarly, if you write A given B, then probability of A intersection B divided by probability of B if P of B greater than 0. And if they are independent, then I told you A happens first, B happens next. If B does not depend on A, then A and B are said to be independent. When it is independent, this probability of, you need not depend on A. So probability of B given A will become probability of B. Okay, then when will this happen? A and B are independent. That's why we call the events A and B are independent, and vice versa. If they are independent, this will be equal to probability of B. In the same case for A given B also. If it will not be depending on, A is not depending on B. Therefore, it will become P of A. Okay. Then they are said to be independent. And multiplicative rules. If in an experiment the events A and B both can occur, then P of A intersection B is equal to. This theorem, this we are deriving from the conditional statement. We know that the definition of probability of B given A is equal to P of A intersection B divided by P of A. Just multiply these two. P of A intersection B will become P of A into P of B. Similarly, from the second one, P of A given B is equal to P of A intersection B divided by P of B. Okay. Multiply these two, you will get P of A intersection B is equal to P of B into P of A given B. Okay. These two are called multiplicative rules. And if A and B are independent, what will happen to this set? This will become B. Therefore, if they are independent, P of A intersection B will become P of A into this will become P of B. So if they are independent, you need not use conditional probability. Directly you can multiply. Now another important theorem, base rule or base theorem you can say. If the events B1, B2, etc. Bn constitute a partition of the sample space S where P of Bi not equal to 0, because Bi we are using in the denominator, that's why this condition P of Bi not equal to 0 for I varies from 1 to n, then for any event A in S such that P of A not equal to 0, P of Bk given A is equal to P of Bk intersection A divided by sigma I varies from 1 to n P of Bi given A. Okay. If you expand like this is using multiplicative theorem. We know that the previous result just now we have seen. No, using that I can write it as P of Bk then P of A given Bk. Okay. Similarly, in the denominator Bi intersection A, using multiplicative theorem I can write it as P of Bi and P of A given Bi, right? Now this is also another name for this is probability of case, formula for the probability of causes you can say. We are going to prove this theorem. The proof is also important. See, let B1, B2, etc. Bn or n events such that P of Bi greater than 0. Let us consider whatever is given and they are disjoint. Therefore, J is equal to MT we know because they are disjoint. For I not equal to J, where I is comma J, they are varying from 1. I can take the values 1 to n. J can also take the values 1 to n. Okay. Also, B1, B2, etc. Bn are exhaustive events of S. Exhaustive definition we have seen already. Exhaustive events of S, and A is another event of S where P of A greater than 0. Okay, exhaustive means what? A set of all, what are all the outcomes, possible outcomes. Okay, so exhaustive events of S. Now, S is equal to, we can consider S is equal to B1 union B2 union etc. union Bn, because they are exhaustive events of S, and B1, S is the sample space, right? Therefore, B1 union B2 etc. is equal to. Now consider A. A is equal to A intersection S. What is A? A is another event of S where P of A greater than 0. Therefore, what is A intersection? A is a subset of S. So, A can be written as A intersection S. For example, this is your S, this is A. Okay, this is our A. So, what is A intersection? The common between A intersection is. Again, the set A only will get. That's why we are writing A as A intersection S. Now, we know that A intersection. What is S? Just now we have seen that B1, B2, they are exhaustive events of S, right? So, B1, B2, etc. union Bn. Now, you take this one, distributive law, apply distributive law. So, A intersection B1 union A intersection B2 union etc. union A intersection Bn, right? Now, you can consider these. What about, we know that B1, B2 etc. they are mutually exclusive. Therefore, this A intersection B1, A intersection B2, they are also mutually exclusive. Now, you consider P of Bk given A. This can be, by definition of conditional probability, we know that this is Bk intersection A divided by P of A, right? See, P of Bk given A, consider this. This is equal to probability of Bk intersection A divided by P of A. What is A? Already we have considered A as P of Bk intersection A. Just now we have taken P of A as P of A union B1 union A union B2. Sorry, A intersection, sorry. This is not union. A intersection B1, intersection B2, union, etc. Union A intersection Bn, right? So this is equal to probability of Bk into probability of A given Bk, right? Using multiplicative rule, divided by probability of B1 into probability of A given B1 plus probability of B2, probability of A given B2 plus etc. plus probability of Bn into probability of A given Bn. This is what we want to prove in the P of Bk given A is equal to this one. Actually, the application of Bayes theorem we can solve many problems using this Bayes theorem. A given B1, A given B2, all these probabilities will be available. A given B1, A given B2, A given Bn. These things will be available. But if you want to flip that events, that is Bk given A, okay, then we can use these things. Using the given results, we can find out this probability. When we do the problem, you will understand the theorem more, okay. And instead of remembering this formula, I will tell you another method. How to, without using this formula, we can form the probability table and then we can do the problem easily. One definite question you can expect from Bayes theorem, very very important, including the proof. Even the proof is very important. Okay. So please remember, study Bayes theorem with the proof also. Okay. With this, and in the live class, I will explain the problems. Thank you so much for listening.